Ah, what a beautiful, glorious day. A beautiful day to hear and see confessions from those on the intranets. I joined my bullies and bullied my best friend out of school. Wow, okay, we're starting strong. When I was 11, I moved to a new school. These kids had all known each other for 6 years. The kids were awful, man. It manifested in sly comments and publicly embarrassing you and just leaving you out. It was all led by the male teacher in his mid-40s who enjoyed making comments about students to embarrass them in front of the class and feel popular. Okay. It was a small school and a really strange environment to come into after being in a wholesome primary school. There was this one girl who was nice to me, and for the first 2 months we were each other's only friends in an otherwise miserable place. Let's call her Anna. She has big buck teeth and she'd had 0 friends her entire life. I went home and told my mother often about what was going on at school, and one day she decided she'd go right to the principal's office and have a chat. I never asked her to do this, as I knew it would not be solved this way considering the ringleader was my teacher. Well, it went bad. So the male teacher pulled me and the 2 worst girls into his tiny office and basically told them my mother had gone to the principal and accused them of bullying me and asked them to explain themselves. Everything inside that office after that moment, I can't remember. It was so stressful. The next thing I remember is he let us all go outside together, and these 2 girls corner me and demand I explain myself. At this point, they knew Anna and I were friends. The week before, she had invited me to her house for her birthday, the first time she'd ever had a friend at her birthday. I don't know why, but I just told them that Anna had a huge problem with them and hated them, and that I didn't know why. And that when I went to her house, she'd spoken to my mother. She told my mother they'd bullied us and that my mother was very defensive and crazy, so she must have just gone to the principal without asking me first. For some reason, this resonated with them so hard. They really, really hated that girl for no reason, so they invited me to sit with them at recess, and when I saw her, I just didn't speak to her. I never spoke another word to Anna. She must have been so confused, and I'm sure she never found out what happened. We all agreed to freeze her out. This was my idea. I suggested it so that the truth wouldn't come out. They wanted to confront her, but I told them it's more effective if we just don't speak to her. This shared enemy caused them to accept me, and I eventually adapted to the environment and became quite a mean girl myself for a couple of years while I was at school. Since all of the girls were freezing out Anna, she switched schools within a month, and I was relieved I didn't have to face her anymore. Wow. This is one of my biggest regrets, and I'm 24 and still think about it and her often. I don't know why I did it. It's hard to explain how toxic and vitriolic that school was. It wasn't normal. That teacher is weird. Yeah, that's the lesson we should be taking away from this. Or rather, not the lesson. That's what we should be taking away, is that at the center of all this was, allegedly, the teacher. You behaved that way because you are a weak coward. You were afraid to stand up for yourself or your beliefs. It was easier to throw your friend under the bus than to face the bullies. It was better for them to hate somebody else than to hate you. Sometimes it's harder to do the right thing, and we just default to the easiest solution. Your mom did the right thing, and you did not learn from her. Now as an adult, you have an opportunity to learn and grow from your mistakes. I don't think my mom did the right thing. Now that I'm old enough to have kids, I wouldn't repeat her mistakes. She's a very idealistic person and didn't really understand that if you're being bullied in school, the teachers can't magically make you cool or liked. I definitely acted out of cowardice. I was also a scared 11-year-old girl in a new and threatening environment, and I threw a girl who was very nice under the bus when she didn't deserve that at all. I certainly learned a lot from it, and hope I'll do enough positive deeds in my life to even the scales. Yeah, I think that's another thing that Turbo FX98 needs to remember, is that she was a child. She was a very young child. She was 11 years old. You were a weak coward. She was an 11-year-old girl, you nerd. I get what you're saying, but maybe dial it back a bit, dude. Genuinely. Like, shit, man. What the You're a little too harsh there. It was a dick move. Kids are dicks, and kids don't know how to handle anything emotionally at all. Alright? The kids! Of course, that's not to defend what she did. That's not what I'm saying. It's just, goddamn, just coming right out of the gate with, you're a weak coward. Like, alright. I tell customers at my work that I'm dyslexic because I can't count. I'm literally just stupid. Like, really dumb. When I'm cashing someone out and then they decide to go, oh wait, I have 68 cents, my brain turns off and I can't do the math. This is me. This is me! God damn it. This is me. I had to say that a few times in a row to get that across. Okay? It's so hard to deal with this sort of issue, okay? Let's see how they're dealing with it, if at all. My brain turns off and I can't do the math. I don't want to pull out my calculator either. I often say, oh, sorry, I can't add the change in because the system needs to count every coin or bill, which is not true. Other times, they go to hand me the change and then I freeze and look confused. The customers can tell and is able to tell, or the customer, can tell and is able to tell me exactly what I need to give them back, so I just go, oh, sorry, I'm dyslexic. I usually just go off of what the customer tells me and pray they're not ripping me off. And as soon as they leave, I double check with my calculator. I hate to fake a disability, but the absolute embarrassment and harassment I get from some of these customers is excruciating. When I tell them I'm dyslexic, they kind of relax a little bit and apologize for being rude. I've actually gotten to the point of almost crying because I'm so stupid and can't count change. I hate when they make a scene. Sounds like... Wait, what is this? Dyscalculia? Hold on, I need to look this word up. Well, what do you know? Check that out. A learning disorder that affects a person's ability to understand number-based information and math. Well, I love learning words that put to, sort of a different meaning, or rather bring meaning in general, to something I've felt for a long, long time. I didn't even know this was a thing. Thank you. Yeah, I need to look into that. I want to ask around about that. I'm super curious because, I'm the exact same way. Like, I have serious learning issues across the board, but man, when a 68-year-old woman at the UPS store would be like, oh wait, I have 2 pennies. I got to a certain point where I just had to tell them, I don't know what that means. I already hit the button. You're too late. This is how it's going to go down. Not like a dick, but of course I have to tell people, hey, sorry, don't know how to do that in my head. No, it's not because the younger generation is stupid and you're superior or something. It's just... welcome to the world. We can't all be the same, baby. When I was 5, I pulled the fire alarm and pretended I didn't know any better. Oh, when I was 5 years old, we were coming back from lunch, and the teacher had told us before lunch we weren't having recess that day. So that made me mad because I wanted to go outside. I saw the opportunity to go outside. A little red box that said fire, pull down. I pulled it. My classmates looked at me in disbelief. Then I heard the loud shrill of the fire alarm, and we went outside. My kindergarten teacher comes up and stoically tells me I'm going to the principal. Anyways, I go to the principal and he's grilling me. I'm getting scared, I'm going to be expelled, so I play stupid. I say, well, the box said pull down. I was just obeying what the sign says, like whenever my mom sees a stop sign, she stops the car. I was just trying to be a good citizen and obey the signs. Principal goes silent for a second and then lectures me on how dangerous it is to falsely activate the alarm. Then he tells me he's calling my parents, but that was it. My mom only said one thing to me about it. Why would you do something like that? You're better than that. The way she said it made me feel bad. After that, some kids thought it was really cool and would high-five me in the hall. Looking back on it, I realize now there was another reason. I wanted to show my classmates how cool and brave I was. I don't know why I still feel bad about this. I'm 21 and this happened 16 years ago. You were 5. 5-year-olds do stupid things. If you knew a 5-year-old right now who did the same stupid thing today, you'd be kind to him. Now, do the same for yourself and let yourself off of the hook. You're wasting too much energy on this. Me too. I would have been 7 years old and we visited my mom and baby brother in the maternity hospital. I went to the bathroom and they had the buttons you push and they slowly turn off automatically. Well, about 6 nurses rushed to me, washing my hands and feeling so badly. Intrusive thoughts for the win! Well, thank you. You're being so helpful right now. I am hiding my child from my father and family for 2 years. Hi, all. So for some context, while trying to stay anonymous, I'm 21, male from Canada. I come from a Desi Muslim immigrant family. I'm not sure if that's the proper way to say the word. My parents are separated since young, or youth, or whatever, and my dad lives in the States. Both of my parents remarried. When I was 18 years old, I got a girl pregnant because I had been screwing around with her for almost a year at the time. Yes, we used protection, but it broke, and by the time we noticed, it was too late. Plan B pill was used, which also failed. I obviously never wanted to have a child, not at least until I was established, and at first, she agreed to an abortion, but once her family found out, they convinced her to keep it, so she did, and obviously there was nothing I can do. I've only told my mom, and that's it. I feel too embarrassed to tell anyone. Not even my stepfather, who lives with me, knows. I just felt like a huge disappointment because my parents fought with blood and tears to come to this country and give me a better life, just for me to screw myself over like this. Not to mention my whole family is very judgmental and gossipy type, and also Muslim. Fast forward to the present. I am involved in my child's life and have a good relationship with my mom, yet I am still hiding it. I say it so I don't disclose the gender. I know I can't keep doing this forever, but I was planning to reveal it to everyone once I finished school and or have a career going for myself. I just feel like it's bad that I have a child I can't even support on my own. As far as my other family knowing or my stepfather, I really don't care for, but my biological dad has the right to know he has a grandchild. The thing is, my dad has 2 little toddlers of his own, and they're only 1 to 2 years older than my child, and I have a bit of a rocky relationship with my father. He left us when I was a toddler and was barely present in most of my life. Although we have a decent relationship, or have had one for the last 5 years now, he is a very education, career first, kids and marriage later, not until like 30 type of guy. He already thinks I'm a screw-up because I took a 2 gap years, whatever, after graduating high school. He's very successful and has high expectations of me. Nonetheless, I know it's wrong to hide my child from him, but I just can't get over how to tell him. Do I tell him in person when I go to visit? Do I tell him over the phone? Ooh, this is a tough one. I completely understand why you tried to keep your little one quiet, but the truth is, the longer you hide them, the more damage you'll end up doing. Plus, eventually the kid will find out you've been hiding them, and that's a recipe for very hurt feelings. Maybe sit your dad down and run through your reasoning and how you've made sure, since, to look after the kid and prepare for your own future. Best of the luck. Sounds like you have a better head on your shoulders than your dad. You're already better than him by being present in your kid's life. I lied to get my current job, and it pays really well. I lied on my resume to land a job I wasn't qualified for. The initial interview went smoother than expected. My fabricated qualifications seemed to impress them. Before I knew it, I was advancing to the next round. The job offer came and I accepted, despite the sinking feeling in my gut. As I stepped into the role, it really hit me hard. I was drowning in tasks I had no idea how to handle. Panic set in as I struggled to keep up with the demands of the job. I sought help online, connecting with others in similar positions who generously shared their expertise. Day by day, I learned the ropes through trial and error. Slowly, I started to grasp the intricacies of the job. The feeling of being overshadowed began to fade as my confidence grew. I persevered, determined to prove myself worthy of the position. 15 years have passed since that fateful decision. I am now a master at my job, a testament to resilience and hard work. The lie that got me in the door has transformed into a success story of perseverance and growth. A part of me is very proud of what I've been able to accomplish, while the other side is disgusted with me for cutting corners. I've never told anyone besides my husband, and he even told me he doesn't believe I really did that. Well, I guess it depends on what you're doing. We don't know what it is you're doing. However, I do fully believe that, like most jobs out there that require master's degrees and experience and stuff like that, probably don't really actually require as much as you think. And I'm not talking about professions like surgeons and shit like that, so don't even throw that crap at me, okay? I feel like just so many jobs that want 150 years experience and a PhD in butt mechanics can be easily trained by the people around you, or the person above you, or by watching a YouTube video. I'm not even kidding, alright? Nice. This is what 2 of my good friends usually do to get their jobs. They lie. They expect me to do the same, but I just don't have the guts to do it. I feel like I'd screw up an answer in the interview. Also, I don't want a job for more pay just to not know what I'm doing the first couple of months. But hey, good for you. You played the game by the rules. You lied on your resume. They didn't catch you. You did the job. Nothing to be disgusted about. Yeah, I think that's the other thing to take away for, honestly, is you did it. You proved that you did not need the qualifications they required. You persevered, as you said, and now you're making them fat stacks. You didn't need what they required. Needed to hear this today. Recently saw a job posting for a job I'm mostly qualified for, and this gave me the motivation to apply. I'm just a year into my career, and it's pretty daunting. I am a thief. I only steal from stores, but I constantly do it. I have a good job, and could honestly afford things that I steal. However, it's something about stealing things and not having to pay for it that I get a rush from. What is that? Is that kleptomania? My friends, the ones that do know, are super judgmental about it. I try to stop, I just can't. I wouldn't say I'm a bad person, and I would never steal from somebody. Opinions? No opinion, just a warning. Depending on where you steal from, they may be letting you get away with it till your theft reaches a certain dollar amount, and then they can have you arrested for felony larceny. Target especially is known for this. Lay off Target, OP. If that's part of your thing, they absolutely let you keep stealing until it adds up to felony. Now, instead of simple shoplifting charge, you'd be looking at prison, okay? Opinion? No, dude, just get therapy for kleptomania and a bunch of other shit you're repressing. Dude, I went to jail for 100 days for stealing a $15 phone charger. I got away with much worse before that, but I'm telling you, man, it's not worth your freedom or the record. It happened 8 years ago, and I still miss out on good jobs because of the petty theft misdemeanor on my record. Yeah, it's super not worth it. The only time that I have ever... No, I can't say routinely, I only ever did it a few times. The only time I've ever stolen is when I was completely flat broke, and I needed to eat. So you know what? Walmart's gonna be the victim there, baby, because screw them, honestly. That I don't feel guilty about. You ever catch me stealing food? No, you didn't. I lie too much, but the lies don't really make sense. All over my life I've lied. But I don't lie about things that make others feel bad or about other persons. I just lie about dumb things that I swear, I don't know why I do it. For example, yesterday I was taking out the trash at 5 p.m. and for some reason I tell my friends that I did it at 6 p.m. Why? I don't know. You know, I found that I do little tiny things like that as well. I'll add like one number up to certain things. I can't even really call that exaggeration. I know what it is. Why do I do that? I'm not confessing this because someone discovered me or something bad happened. I just started to think about all the things I've been lying about, and I really want to stop because I think it's too dumb to be living like this. And these days, I started to feel unhappy because of it. I consider, as a very sincere person, I consider myself a very sincere person. About things that can just affect a bit someone or things that affects me. Wow, this sentence is all messed up. This been following me or has been following me all my life, but one thing I can notice, it's that I don't lie now with big things. Like, back then, I just lie about my parents, cars, my house, and stuff like that, and now it's just these small things that have started to ruin me inside. I do this too. It gets very hard. By chance, do you have ADHD? Because I do, and I was told it's an impulse thing. Like, you think, I could say I took the trash out at 6, and then you say it, but the thought goes by so fast you don't even process it, so you just say it, and then you feel guilty for lying, but don't want everyone to think worse of you because you lied about something you shouldn't even have lied about, and so the cycle continues. It makes no sense, but nothing about ADHD does. If you don't have ADHD, then perhaps it's just me, but just a suggestion. What? People lie because there's a fear hidden. What's yours? Thinking about that could be the first step to figure out how to move forward from that habit. I drowned myself, so a hot lifeguard would hold me. So this happened when I was 10, I think. I could always swim and went on vacation with friends and family. I went beach and saw this hot lifeguard. I'd never felt so enamored by another man before. I wanted him to hold me. I tried talking to him, but he was distant and focused, which makes sense considering I was a 10-year-old and he was doing a life-saving job. However, even then, he was sweet and patient, and I remember he said he liked anime, and that was all I needed. I think he was maybe 17. He was also very warm despite his focus. I could tell in a normal conversation he was probably even more so. I never had a problem flirting with girls. It was so easy, it was boring even at 10. It wouldn't be anything weird, but I like your hair, we should go watch the new Transformers, stuff like that. Damn, you the Riz Master, dude. But he felt so untouchable, it made me want to try harder. So I kept thinking of ways to get his attention, and I decided to drown myself. Not as a joke, though. I went underwater and took a breath. It felt so bad, and I was panicking so much, I ended up flailing like I was really drowning. Are you saying that you inhaled the water? What? Which I guess I was. So it's really painful. Salt water in my eyes and you did. Wow. And I feel like throwing up and I'm forgetting how to swim or stay buoyant. It only lasted for maybe 15 seconds. Eventually, I was rescued. Not by the guy, but some teenage girl really close by. She was like 16 and apparently the only one that had noticed something was wrong. My friend said I was lucky I got saved and got CPR or whatever, about her being hot, but I was so disappointed. Oh, I see what you're saying. I am and was attracted to women, but that was not what I wanted. I was disappointed and drowning hurt so much. I asked my friend not to tell his parents. He knew about the plan. I don't know. I don't really feel guilty. I feel annoyed that I know what drowning feels like. What? But I do feel guilty that I could have been saved while someone who was really drowning needed help. Also, the parents are not at fault. They've watched me swim laps around them, and I purposely went within 5 minutes, or the 5 minutes they went to get us snacks. My friend's older sister was watching us, and I purposely went where she couldn't watch me and her brother at the same time. Luckily, the lady that saved me took me to her umbrella thing. so his sister couldn't see. What? Okay. I barfed up water and could have died from infection, but I got lucky, I guess, since I didn't tell anyone so I wouldn't get in trouble. I'm told it helps it was salt water, though. You found it too easy and boring flirting with girls even at the age of 10? Man, I wasn't even thinking about flirting when I was 10. Pretty sure the only thing on my mind at 10 were my stats on RuneScape and my Club Penguin Igloo. Those were the days. I cannot believe you willingly took a breath of straight-up water. I'm laughing so hard. Honestly, you know what? Can we get a round of applause? Just the commitment to the sheer stupidity of that bit, my guy. You certainly learned a valuable lesson that day. I have snuck outside of the house fully naked before. Oh, you slut! And no, not just a one-time thing. Keep in mind, this was usually done in the winter, so before I had a vehicle with auto start, I'd walk out to my car early in the morning. This time of year I had somewhere to be in half an hour, wearing either just my robe or a shirt and shorts with no underwear. I'd open or drop the robe/clothing for a brief moment after walking behind my house after starting my car. The thrill of it was just incredible. I immediately regretted and stopped doing it, mainly because it was still within city limits and I could be caught by a neighbor if I wasn't careful. I do not suggest doing this if you live in a town. I mean, why would you do it anyway? I once showered in a hurricane. It was fabulous. I usually wake up before dawn. I'll grab my coffee and go sit on the deck in the backyard naked while I drink it. I started hanging around inside my house naked. That led to sitting on my deck drinking a beer naked. Then one day I noticed some flowers needed to be pruned while having one of those beers, which led to naked gardening. Being naked is fun! You know what? They're so goddamn right about that. I ripped out a girl's hair because I couldn't roast her. When I was 11 or 12, I don't remember, I ended up in a roast battle with a 13-year-old girl from my neighborhood. I was losing badly, in front of about 5 of my close friends, and was extremely embarrassed. Things got more aggressive, and it was at the point where everyone around me was making fun of me. I, at the time, was not taking any medicine for my anger issues, which are now treated much better. I took aggression and went to tackle her. Everyone was yelling at me, telling me to stop, but at that point I didn't care. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I know that this incident caused that girl to move out with a bunch of... with a bunch of bruises, cuts, and about half of the hair, which I was told she spent almost her whole life growing, pulled out by me. That day I lost 6 friends. You lost the battle and your friends. Massive L. Good luck. I think most of us spend our whole life growing our hair. Damn, acting like a mini chimpanzee. I nearly set our whole house on invisible fire with hand sanitizer. Okay, so this is gonna sound very, 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 very stupid, but there's like 1,000 flies and other bugs on our window. So when I was bored, I smack them but not kill it. Unable to move but still alive, when I got like a lot, I put them close to each other and put hand sanitizer on and around it, then set it on fire. I couldn't see the fire, but when I put my hand on top of it, it was very hot, and I can see the fire like barely, and it spreads fast, and I had to put it out with water, and I had to... Are you 12? And I did it again, but with bug spray, but on a wooden floor. Now I just don't do that anymore. Yes, I am stupid. Our house is like 85% wood. Ethanol fires are terrifying. Please continue to not do that anymore. My neighbors straight blew up their garage over hoarding ham desanitizer. We had temps well into the hundreds, and the pressure and heat, I guess, more or less turned it into a giant Purell napalm bomb. Wife was one of those coupon chicks. She would stockpile stuff, then flip it on OfferUp. Wow, that's pathetic and lame. I mean, seriously, it's one thing for, like, crap that might hold value, but another thing for something that could have helped out during a global pandemic, like f***ing hand sanitizer. Anyway, they got a shit ton of fines, and she barely escaped jail time. Turns out you need hazmat clearances, permits, and all sorts of shit to store that volume of chemicals for resale, and she had none of that. She's also lucky as hell her house was within visual of the fire detachment because we live in the middle of nowhere. I didn't know them, but it was the talk of the town for at least a year. Why are you needlessly torturing insects? You need therapy. I mean, they kind of deserve it if they bother me 24/7. Real, though. I used a kid in middle school for chocolate and snacks. Okay, so this happened back when I was in the 7th grade. Back in the 7th grade, my family was hella poor, so we really never could afford luxuries such as candy and toys. I only ever got the essentials growing up. I had a best friend at the time who was the best lineman on the team. You all know what I mean by that. Every day he would come to school, he had hella candy and snacks that he would eat throughout the day, but he wouldn't share unless you were dating him. So about 3 weeks go by and he gets a girlfriend and buys her a ton of candy and snacks. About a week later, they broke up, and I had the bright idea to fake liking him so that I could get snacks because I knew he liked me. So he asked to be my boyfriend. I said yes, and the next day at school, I had hella snacks waiting for me. I broke up with him after I took them. Man, one day? Man, you did this gambit for a day? Too bad this doesn't work for your food stamps. Ooh, that's kind of cheesy. Cracker me up. Whoa, you can't say that. I'm just kidding. Go ahead. As I see it, you were a kid just trying to survive. It was like that for me too in elementary to middle school. I was thin as a twig and had almost collapsed because I wasn't getting enough to eat. I couldn't stand to keep this quiet anymore. I hyperfixated on someone, and I regret it. It was March, and I went to Pink to grab some stuff. There I met someone, and immediately I hyperfixated on them. I went to Pink once a week just to see them. Before Mother's Day, I went in to see them, but they weren't there. So I asked if they were there. Their coworker said no, and I thought maybe I could see them when I come back. A day later, I checked in, but they weren't there again. So I gave their coworker my number so that they can talk to me. Immediately after I left, they texted me and said that it was weird that I was talking to them, though I never knew who they are. Instead of just keeping my mouth shut, I told them off and deleted their number. I felt guilty for doing this, even if it's normal. I avoided that place like the plague, but that stopped when I went into Pink yesterday. I didn't see them and I was kind of relieved until I saw their figure walking away. I panicked and I left without saying a word or looking for them. I hated myself for going in there not knowing that it wasn't the best time to go. I hated that I did this to them, and I hate that I did such a thing in general, thinking that it was a good idea. That's stalker behavior. You should really leave them alone before you get into trouble. Also, perhaps talk to a trusted person or therapist about your feelings. Yeah, that could be a problem. You might want to get that checked out and dealt with. Nip that in the bud, dude. Seriously.